So I feel like Christopher Nolan tries to push things too as far as he can, maybe. But then you go The Dark Knight Rises, and it's still kind of a similar formula, maybe. So I think there's some super movies that definitely try to push. It's just they're not very common. They're rare.
Yeah.
The
And
majority of them
I
are.
guess like the main idea is like, what do you want to be known for? Whenever Marvel writers are creating Marvel movies, well, what is this movie gonna add to the masses out of all the other movies that we put up out there? How is this gonna add to the story, to the legacy of Marvel, basically, right? And I think that as they write and create new movies, I think that's kind of like the main thing. Like, what do they want to be known for? Welcome back to the Out of the Box podcast, where Steele and I, Jose, your host, get to talk about out of the box ideas. This is for those who are watching for the first time. This is a channel that where we try to bring truth and talk about just things that are going on in the world and just observations from a very ordinary and very uh, just local perspective. And so we really want to share and bring people, also guests who share that their expertise and their knowledge to try to piece the truth together. Um, and so today we're actually going to be talking about the Marvel movies and why sometimes we think it's so interesting, the entertainment aspect, and how sometimes people criticize Marvel movies and say that it's not avant-garde, it's not anything that's pushing the wheel to the next generation of movies. But we really wanted to talk about the value in them and just the aspect of what Marvel movies mean. But before we actually get started, we want to invite you to subscribe to our channel if you think this is interesting and you think that this is something that you would like to support and learn from. We really would appreciate you joining us in this journey and continue to share amazing content to you and serve you in the best way possible. And so if you like to subscribe to our channel, please feel free to subscribe. But without further ado, so Steele, what did you have in mind in terms of like Marvel? Because I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you you were mentioning that you're finding a new light in Marvel movies that before you thought it was like, it's very childish. It's not anything new. I want to see more movies that are like pushing the wheel of what's capable in film, and but you're trying to realize that there's a value in it. So just wanted to get your thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And to give the whole context, the idea of maybe, look, there's this big debate going on right now between, are Marvel movies cinema? Are they not? Recently, Martin Scorsese, one of my favorite directors, said that Marvel movies are not cinema, and that they're just amusement park rides. And yeah, there's maybe some truth to that. And everyone has their opinion, which is, hey, I respect that. I had a similar opinion actually when I was in high school, probably getting out of high school. Like, a lot of times in high school, I'll go through this thing of like, I watch the Marvel movie in theaters for the first, I like it the first time I see it. And then I think about it more and more, and then I don't like it. And that would happen repeatedly. My friend Jacob can vouch for that. So yeah, like, and there's certain Marvel movies I was like, I just didn't even give them a chance. I didn't even watch it. I just judged it by the way it looked or the trailer or whatever. But there's no denying that right now Marvel movies are making tons of money, and it's not all about the money. And that was another thing I've always gone back and forth. Like, I want to see artistic movies. I want to see movies push the boundaries, like you were saying. I want to see avant-garde. I want to see art house movies. I want to see dark movies that aren't afraid to be edgy and take risks. And I still love movies like that. As a filmmaker too, I think me being a filmmaker has made me love movies like that compared to general audiences, which is are stereotyped as people who like, Marvel movies, I guess. And I'm not trying to say everyone's like that. I'm just saying that's my experience and kind of what I've noticed. So like I think what I'm getting at here is seeing Marvel movies in a new light. My a lot of time in the past, I and recently, like probably 5 or so years ago, be more critical of Marvel movies, like it's just the same thing over and over again. They're not even taking risks. It's just a standard PG-13. Like, you kind of know it's going to happen, predictable. And now I'm trying to give them a new chance, and maybe it's this new debate that's brought this to mind. And maybe I'm even getting burned out on art house and independent dark movies. Maybe I'm just getting burned out just because I've seen so many and I've studied so many. So now I'm like, I want to go over here now to Marvel movies, and I want to watch them in a new light. So I ordered a whole bunch of them on Blu-ray, ones that I'd sold years ago because I didn't have any interest anymore. And now I've had this newfound interest where I want to kind of study them in this new light and see them as more of a entertainment kind of, and also just see, do they bring any value? Is there anything there? Is there any art house elements that they're trying to do that I didn't see before? So yeah, that's where we, kind of start this off is just, yeah,
Yeah.
just different.
And I think, yeah, and I think like how we were talking about before we started the podcast, we were mentioning that, or I was mentioning that, you know, when you go watch a Marvel movie, you you can sometimes almost predict what's going to happen. It's very predictable. It's very known to the viewer. It's not going to take you on a journey where, actors are not going to be talking and they're just going to do sign language. You're not going to expect that. It's not going to be a movie that's going to push the boundary of what's capable in movies. Like, it's not going to be anything avant-garde. um it might create a brand and a culture of what it means to be in Marvel movies. But I think that in itself, you just, how you said at the beginning, it does make a lot of money, but does making a lot of money mean it's the best movie? Is it the best movies in the world? Well, probably not, you know? Um, but it's just the same thing like in music. Does are the top 40 songs on Spotify, does that mean that they're the best singers? Does that mean that they're the best musicians? Probably not, right? Ed Sheeran's made a lot of money, and his songs make it into top 40s all the time. Does that mean he's the best singer? Probably not, right? He's a great musician, and he's been very creative, but you don't have to have the best voice or best, musical skills to make it into the top 40 nowadays. Back then, like, 1930s or 1940s, jazz musicians, they went out and they had, mastery skills where they played the piano so well, and you were competing to be the best pianist. And nowadays it's, the level of education in terms of general understanding of music has lowered a little bit. And so, you could just make a really catchy song and add some good lyrics, and you could sing and make it into the top 40, which is, it sounds easy, and I'm sure there's various other things that go into to make it into the top 40. Of course, you have to work really hard, and have a good marketing team and all that. But aside from that, I think that that the level of musicality in the top 40 or in Marvel movies, uh if we were to put those in the scale, it's just, we understand that they're going to make a lot of money. It's like, why do people keep making Fast and Furious movies?
Oh,
you know
yeah,
because,
exactly.
like, the title and the brand makes a lot of money when you come out with a new movie.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's to be expected. It's a brand aspect, of that the movie carries, and there's a market for it. There's a big market for it, and so people are not gonna be making a movie there to share a very philosophical moment or
Yeah, there's not
anything.
going to be like a rated R Spider-Man movie about, I don't know. There's just, because Spider-Man, people don't see Spider-Man that way, and they know that the studios know that audiences are going to be upset and it's going to bomb, right? So they know. So that's the money plays a role in whether they take creative risks or not. Whether those
Yeah,
creative risks are
but
good or bad, it's like
but this is so interesting because there's this guy. His name is Seth Godin. He's I've talked to him. I've talked about him before. This guy, he's a writer. He's a blogger. But he says that you know sometimes there's people that they want to write hit songs, and that's all they want to do, and you know more power to them. That's they want to be in the top 40. And what does that come with? Okay, well, you'll make a lot of money, but you have to stick to these rules and you have to stick to these formats. And so it's not going to be anything avant-garde or anything like that's pushing music outside of its boundaries, but it'll be nice to listen to. You'll get some good cash out of it, and you get to pay your bills and take your family on several vacations. And so it's kind of like to be expected. If this is the track you want to do, but if you want to be known for expanding the boundaries of music in
right.
in
It's like you
jazz,
said, it's
right?
predictable.
So there's a lot of great jazz musicians out there who are not mainstream, but they're really good musicians.
Yeah,
And
there's
so
some
it's
really
it's it's balancing, like, you want to be a master and be like great at your art or your instrument, or do you want to just write music for the great masses?
mhm.
And so I think that
Yeah,
that's what Marvel movies are, how Marvel movies are different from, like what you said, movies that are studied in
yeah,
film
that's a
school.
that's a good metaphor. I think, yeah, because I've seen some really amazing. Some of the best movies I've seen are independent movies, or just movies no one really has heard of, or movies that maybe aren't as popular as Marvel movies. A lot of David Lynch movies, like Eraserhead, I just find to be pushing the limit to the limit, like past the limit, and it's just like nothing I've ever seen. So, and I happen to like stuff like that. I understand why some people don't like it, because they want structure, they want predictability. And Marvel movies, like we've been saying, they have structure and predictability because they follow a certain formula for hero movies, right?
Yeah.
However, I will counter that because I will say that there are certain Marvel movies I think that stand out as exceptions. Take Avengers Infinity War, for example. That was one of the few superhero movies that I know of that the villain actually wins at the end. Thanos snaps his fingers, and half of the Avengers disappear into ashes. And I remember audiences when I was watching were like shocked. They're like, because that's never happened.
Yeah.
But then of course there's a part two, and then the heroes win, right? But so it kind of undoes it. But at the same time, when you take that by itself, it's like, okay, they're really pushing the boundaries here. So there, I think, here and now, every now and again, there is a superhero movie that
Or even
does, you
the
know,
Spider-Man movies recently.
like no one.
All the all the leaks and all the marketing things that they did to build
Yeah,
up
that was good.
to the movie. I mean, that was very smart from their part. Yes, it's going to be a very mainstream movie, but I think you learn from that. You learn like, well, if you're an indie musician or like indie film um creator, then you can learn, like, hey, if I want to make this more mainstream or make this more profitable, I can use these tactics to create this, right,
Right.
within my fan base. And so I think it's those big movies, like, they show what's capable in the micro scale, um
I think
in
there are
your
also
market.
that's definitely true from marketing perspective. I also think that some super movies have avant-garde elements. I don't know if I would go 100% and say they're avant-garde, but like for example, the Batman movie, the new one with Robert Pattinson, and Paul Dano as Riddler. I feel like there's certain scenes and elements in that movie that are kind of avant-garde and pushing it and avant-garde, and like they're doing things that you wouldn't expect in a superhero movie, and they're also just trying to do new innovative things with film. And so there's certain, I can't think of specific examples right now, but I think that movie there are definitely some scenes like that. And I think in like The Dark Knight, for example, Christopher Nolan pushes the limit on not having any CGI as much as possible, and he's a more of an independent minded filmmaker, and so you can kind of see that in his Batman movies.
Yeah,
Like the Joker wins, Harvey Dent kind of wins in some sense at the end. Like the villains kind of win, like symbolically in the end of The Dark Knight. Um, so I feel like Christopher Nolan tries to push things too as far as he can, maybe. But then you go The Dark Knight Rises, and it's still kind of a similar formula, maybe. Um, so I think there's some super movies that definitely try to push. It's just they're not very common. They're rare.
yeah.
The
And
majority.
I guess like the main idea is like, what do you want to be known for, right? I think that's what, like, whenever Marvel writers are creating Marvel movies, it's like, well, what is this movie gonna add to the masses of out of all the other movies that we put up out there? How is this gonna add to the story, to the legacy of Marvel, basically, right? And I think that as they write and create new movies, I think that's kind of like the main thing. Like, what do they want to be known for? What do they want to leave people hanging with? And I think, like you said, yeah, like the aspect of Thanos, snapping people out and basically making them disappear, and everybody thought all of them were dead, and you know that leaves them emotionally shocked, and I think that was a big move. Other than the fact, also on top of the fact that that was a very long movie, and so how do you keep people's attention that long, and that sort of thing, when we live in such a fast-paced world? And so it's understanding the patterns, because if you look at movies, when they started, it was so slow. The
Oh
storyline is
yeah,
very slow. You
yeah.
look
I'm
at
watching some.
what's it called?
Having that. Yeah,
Was Charlie Brown? You look at a Charlie Brown, the Christmas,
yeah.
and it's just so slow.
It's a different.
It's just like almost tiring, because our attention
We're
span
so used
has
to it. Yeah, David.
increased so much.
Yeah, David Lynch, the director, said in an interview that movies are so fast now that you can hardly even keep up. And he said it happens so fast now that you can't even immerse yourself into the film as much. And he was from a different time, of course, right? Um, it's just I agree with him to start, especially for certain movies, like they're just you can't even hardly immerse yourself in it because everything, the shots are so fast and everything. Um, but I also think we focus so much on the negative parts of Marvel as critics, film critics, that sometimes or filmmakers too, that we forget about all some of the positives, or some of the strengths maybe. And to me, the strengths, I think a lot of people could maybe agree, not every movie, but that it's impressive how many VFX shots and CGI and special effects they can pull off in these movies. Like I feel like if there's an area where they push the boundary, that's probably where it is. Now I'm not saying they have the best. I'm not saying all of them have the best CGI on earth. Some of them actually do though. Like to me, a lot of some of the CGI in like Endgame was impressive, and so I think the technical aspects are impressive. And the fact, another thing that's impressive is how they're able to have so many characters in one movie. The Avengers,
Yeah,
if you remember, was so popular when it first came out. It was a breakthrough in film on its own because that was the first time in history in any film that you had separate independent film trilogies combining characters from those film trilogies into one film. That had never happened in the history of film before.
yeah,
Then you fast forward and now we're at Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and now you have like 20 characters from like different like own like solo movies, right? And so that's led to new things. And now No Way Home, taking characters like this Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man from completely different uh
yeah.
like generations. And so like, I feel like there are breakthroughs and positive things with that part of it, that we have to kind of go, wow, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's the aspect of collaboration. I mean, you see it nowadays with musicians, and if you think back into Michael Jackson's time, the song "We Are the World," where you have a bunch of famous musicians come together in one song. They sing about "We Are the World," and how powerful is that? Bringing so many great artists and musicians together into one piece of music. I think that adds so much value because it brings markets from different areas. Like the market of Michael Jackson, the market of Whitney Houston, the market of all these musicians into one, and so you bring different energies into the group and get to see that interaction. And so I think that's what's so fascinating about collaborations nowadays.
Yep.
Because I don't think it was that evident back then, like with movies and with music.
Right.
Like you usually like where Bob Marley sang Bob Marley, and that was his
Yeah.
song, his
There.
music.
Yeah.
But there
There's.
wasn't that much like Bob Marley and Michael Jackson doing a song, or Michael Jackson and you know I don't know, just
There's.
some
There.
other artist in another genre.
And there's a
But like nowadays, like you just hear
all
musicians
the time.
cross genres, and
Yeah, featuring.
that's completely normal. And now you have musicians speak Spanish and English in the same song, and that's completely normal. And that's where our culture has come. We
Yeah.
live in such a multicultural world nowadays, where you can have Ed Sheeran sing with J Balvin, a bilingual song, and it's completely great. And it's the aspect of collaboration. And I think it's so evident nowadays because, especially in terms of profitability, you bring two energies together, you bring two markets together. Um, it's really uniting. And I think collaborations are definitely a way to go, a way to expand your market and your brand, right? I think that yeah, like you said, bringing so many superheroes together in one movie, why is it so impactful?
Yeah.
Because you're collaborating. Even though it's all from the same umbrella of Marvel, it's a collaboration of
Oh, I bet. I bet it's gonna get crazier. I bet because this is a trend right now, and we never thought it would happen. I never thought I'd see Willem Dafoe Green Goblin with the newest version of Spider-Man, or even just Green Goblin with Doctor Octopus. Like that's insane to me. Like when I was a kid growing up watching Spider-Man 1 and 2, did I ever think I would ever see those two characters on the same screen? No. But now we have that. So now it's like it feels like anything's possible with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, with Sam Raimi, the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy, directing that. It's like, okay, we're probably gonna see Tom McGuire. I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure that then all these rumors about Tom Cruise as Iron Man, and then like the bringing the original Fantastic Four back, bringing all the original X-Men into the another Doctor into this next Doctor Strange movie. So it's like this is another trend now. Is now the next phase is bringing old characters from completely separate franchises into the same universe. So I bet the next trend after that might be bringing DC characters into Marvel universe characters, and maybe who knows, maybe they'll bring Star Wars. I mean, I have who knows, anything seems possible at this point to me, because stuff I never thought it would happen is happening now. So I want to lend to that creativity, but also the last thing I want to say is and discuss is like I think it also depends on the mindset you're going into. Like, what do I want from this movie? Do I want to watch an avant-garde movie that's pushing the boundaries? Sometimes I do. I love movies like that. I love David Lynch's work. I love Martin Scorsese's work. David Fincher, a lot of different directors that are pushing the boundaries. But I also have now found this newfound appreciation for Marvel movies because I'm starting to realize when Martin Scorsese and other directors say, "Oh, they're roller coaster amusement park things, and they're not cinema." So it's almost like some people are saying we don't need them. And it's like, well, do you really want to say we want to completely get rid of? I'm not saying that's what they're saying, but like, let's say we got rid of Marvel movies and other movies like them. Is that really necessary? I mean, then we take away a whole subset of film, of entertainment away. And so it's like, to me at least, I think we should all have the option to want to watch an entertaining movie, because some people like entertaining movies. Some people like artistic, more dark movies, I guess you could say. And so it's like, I want all of it. I don't want just one. I want to have all the options. I don't want to take away any of these options. So for me, it's like going in the mindset of, I want to watch a Marvel movie to be entertained and to just enjoy it, and some of the Marvel movies go deep places a little bit. Um, so I guess what I'm saying is, it comes down to the question of, well, do you want to see Martin Scorsese version of Spider-Man? Like, do you want to see that? Do you want to see David Lynch direct an Iron Man movie? It's like, that would be kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be kind of interesting to see. But I mean, would it really be what you want? Like,
Yeah,
want Avengers movies to be avant-garde, 3 hour long, movies with like maybe two action scenes and that's it. Like, do we really want that? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Or do we just think that's what we want?
yeah.
Part of me is, I don't know. It's kind of, I'm kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think you can have a little bit of both,
Yeah.
avant-garde and expect certain things. I think you gotta have a mixture. It also depends on what the directors want to be known for. Like, do they want to be like known for only avant-garde movies? And they can pay their bills with just making avant-garde movies, and that's all they want to do. And so they'll probably create that brand and say like, hey, whenever you want a avant-garde movie, you can call me. If not, I'm not interested. And so it's really defining
Right.
like what one wants to do, and none is less virtuous than the other.
That's what I'm
It's
trying to say.
just
That's what I'm trying
it's just that they just serve a different market, and you
to,
know
and I'm just saying, we can all enjoy what we enjoy. Like, some people just will never watch a David Lynch movie, and that's fine because it's not what they want to watch, you know. Some people don't want to watch Marvel movies, and I think that's fine too. I think we just watch what we enjoy and let other people enjoy what they enjoy. Um, and I'm trying to get to a philosophical thing on that. Other thing is like, yes, part of me, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see like, what would Martin Scorsese, how would he direct a Spider-Man movie? How would David Fincher make a Spider-Man movie, which David Fincher was going to at one point? I was like, that would be really cool to see. But then I wonder, like, if all super movies were like that, and all super movies became avant-garde, then they would cease to be superhero movies. They wouldn't even be superhero movies anymore. They would just be something else. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like, us complaining that there's too many Marvel movies, and they need to make Marvel movies like avant-garde and stuff. But then they're not Marvel movies anymore. Like, it's like they're their own genre, and you're trying to turn them into a different genre. I think it's okay to do that, like, for every now and again. Like, the Dark Knight's a really cool example, or the Batman maybe by Matt Reeves is a good example of doing something that's a little bit more avant-garde, and it's really cool. But I think if you do it for every single superhero movie that comes out, then it's like, then you're oversaturating it with, and you're basically killing off the superhero genre entirely, and it doesn't even exist anymore. And what I'm trying to say is, I think they should all exist, and we pick and choose what we want to watch, and yeah, so let's keep all of it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like questioning the philosophy of that, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, what do you think? Any final things?
yeah, I would say, I think there's a market for anything. I think none is less virtuous than the other. um but you know Marvel movies have their market, and it's to be expected sometimes what they're going to produce. It's exciting because, it just it's new, and this is what songwriters, they talk about in their books and their music, how they structure music is you have to create something that is similar to what people have heard before, but slightly newer so that people can still understand it and be aroused and because music is to be mused by something, you know. It's something that's like sparks something. And so it's pushing it slightly up a little bit, but still known. And you can kind of expect that there's going to be a bridge, there's going to be, a climatic moment, there's a fade out at the end, or something like that, or similar to a Marvel movie. You know, you can be creative within those boundaries of a Marvel movie, and it has 2 3 action scenes, and that the superhero is gonna beat the villain, um, and just all this stuff that it's to be expected, and there's conflict, and you fear for the for the hero, but then you're trying to figure out how he's gonna solve his problems, and then he ends up solving his problem. Um, and maybe there's some foreshadowing there, but I think that it doesn't take away from that being something you can enjoy. It might not be intellectually um boggling, but you just say like, hey, it was a good movie, I enjoyed myself, and I might watch it again, might not, but hey, I enjoyed my time watching it. you know and I think that's what you can say. I mean, some people might want to watch it again, and that's all power to them. Um, and so that's what I'm trying to uh, get at, right? With movies, and Marvel movies specifically, it's just doesn't take away that they have a formula, that they have set boundaries that they like to creatively play with. Um, but you know it's not going to push the boundary of what's capable sometimes, but it's enjoyable. It's enough to keep you on your toes, if that makes sense. And it's also profitable, so you know people can make a lot of money, and make a good living. So I think it has a lot of job opportunities there too. So
Yeah.
sounds good. Any last thoughts, Steele?
Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I can't remember if I said it. I'm like getting tired now, but yeah, I ordered a whole bunch of the old Marvel movies on Blu-ray, and so I'm gonna watch them this weekend. Like from like Iron Man 1 till like Avengers Endgame. I already have Avengers Endgame, but filling in the gaps, the ones I don't have, and so I'm excited to watch them on Blu-ray after not seeing them for years, and just seeing what I feel differently about them, and critiquing them maybe, or just different things like that. So I'm curious. I think it'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
interesting. So
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Well, thank you for being coming to the end of this podcast. We really appreciate your attention and staying on with us for the time being. And also, let us know what you think about Marvel movies. Do you appreciate them? Do you think that it's a horror that they exist? Let us know in the comments down below. We really like to get your thoughts on this. And also, if you really enjoyed our content, we I really invite you to like our video. It really helps us continue making videos for you. And also subscribe to our channel for more information, more videos that are going to be coming up. We like to talk again about truth, about movies, about art, different topics. And we like to bring guests from those areas as well. So please stay tuned, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.